Hello and welcome to Profiles in Power series. We are back again highlighting women educators across the county to celebrate their work and personal stories and shine a light on the important work they are doing in service of our students. My name is Dr. Stephen Dorsey. I'm an executive leadership coach with the San Diego County Office of Ed Equity Department. And today I have the marvelous privilege of interviewing an amazing local woman educator, Miss Megan Adams, who is an administrative assistant to the assistant superintendent of student services at Coronado Unified School District. And as we join in our Women's History Month, a quote from Monique Morris is, "Equity is about power and how we use it." So today we are going to talk to Megan Adams. Megan, how are you today?
So good. So good. How are you, Dr. Dorsey?
I am doing well. Thank you very much for coming on to Profiles in Power. I think we are going to have a good time, but let's just dive right in. So Megan, tell us, what's your story? Tell us about your background and some of your experiences.
Well, first, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to do this. I feel really honored. I love my story, so I'm really happy to have the opportunity to share it. I was born in Boston. I grew up in New Hampshire. And right around the late middle school, high school, I moved to Bloomington, Indiana. And I'm a graduate of Bloomington North. And after high school, I moved to Terre Haute, Indiana, and started to attend Indiana State University. I worked full time, and I was earning my degree in criminology and criminal justice. So I have a bachelor's in criminology. After my bachelor's, I decided to move around a little bit. So I moved my education online, started working towards my master's, and then moved to Texas, Eagle Pass, Texas for a little bit, and then landed in Carrboro, North Carolina. So I worked a few jobs at a law firm and doing loss prevention while going to school, finishing up my master's. I had the privilege to be able to study in London for a little bit before I graduated, and then I wrapped up my master's in criminology and criminal justice. So that was exciting. I'm not really sure I knew what I wanted to do with it, but I couldn't imagine going to school studying anything different at the time. And then right around the 2009 timeframe, I landed in San Diego. So 2009, and in 2010, I interviewed for a position of admin assistant here in the Coronado Unified School District. No school experience, but a team of educators took a chance and hired me, and I've been in the district ever since. So I would say that my previous work at a law firm definitely helped with some of the legal complexities of my position. And I just love working with people. I love building teams. I love problem solving and working in student services. If it has to do with a student, it has to do with our office in some capacity. So there's definitely a lot of communication, team building, problem solving that happens here every day.
That is an incredible story. Indiana
State,
North Carolina, holy mackerel. That gives you great experience. Would you consider yourself a Hoosier?
Yeah, absolutely. My whole family's in New England. I'm definitely a Hoosier. Yeah, definitely some rivalry between some of those teams up there.
Yes, well, and your criminal justice background is perfect for student services. Like you said, with all of the legal aspects that come with that position and dealing with students who really need that support, I can think of no one better to have them supported than you.
Thank you.
All right, so in celebration of Women's History Month, who is a woman in your life that inspired you and pushed you to be your greatest personal self, personally and professionally?
This one's it's easy and difficult at the same time, because when reflecting, I have managed to surround myself with I can't countless amazing women who push me to be my best self, personally and professionally. But obviously, it all started with my mom. My mom is one of a kind. She is the most compassionate, selfless, hardworking person that I think I've ever met. She was a single mom raising me for quite some time and worked a multitude of jobs, just getting it done. Never complained. She just did what she had to do. I never knew the difference. And she made sure that I just felt, loved and taken care of. And she just has this ability to connect with everybody. And I don't know that I valued it as much as I do now looking back, but she is tremendous. Recently she's worked with students with disabilities. Now she's actually a caretaker for my grandmother. My grandmother just celebrated her 98th birthday. So my mom is taking care of her. But she's amazing. And I think as a part of that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my little sister. She is a Marine Corps veteran, and she served our country and is doing amazing things at Brown University now for the veterans there. She worked on the F-35 as an equipment mechanic. So she's mighty and little and fierce, and it inspires me even as a little sister, constantly pushing me to be my best self. And then, just being reflective even a little bit more, I don't have any family here in San Diego. So looking at my coworkers, I met a lot of them 10 years ago in the professional capacity, but, the women that I work with that are educators and classified supports, and my director, our district nurse, my friends at the SELPA, these are women that I've met in a professional capacity, but we've just developed this friendship over the last 10 plus years. So, they're the ones, my mom's, in New Hampshire or Massachusetts right now. So I don't have her right next to my side. I have a group of women who are just friends and supports in my care system, and just pushing me to be better and to I don't know, be my best self, I guess.
Wow, that's an incredible self going right there.
Yeah.
And your sister working on the YF-35. Oh my goodness, strike fighter paradise right there. I am a big fan. My father was in the Air Force, so I am all about aircraft anytime I can get into it. But I think they set the stage for you, right? And they lead you in that right direction. And that's why we can see that student support piece within you, that you just exude that warmth for your students that come through. So let's see, what advice would you give county educators to support students as they are coming through the student services office?
For me, I do a lot of work behind the scenes. I love being that support system. I'm often the first contact that families make when they move into the area. I'm helping families that are living or wanting to transfer into our district, or who move here or who leave here, and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And I do a lot with our special education data and student services data. And data has been kind of something that's just been a passion that I didn't know I was passionate about recently. And I think it started with some of the work I've been doing with our South County SELPA. But I encourage educators to look at our data and continue to use it to tell stories. Sometimes data can be flat, and data drives so many important decisions that we make as educators, from compliance and programming and funding, and what supports our students need. And when you start talking about statistics or ratios or risk ratios, those aren't numbers that often elicit a personal connection. So I always, I'm starting to learn more about how can we use the data we have, and how can we use the information, the numbers that we have, to tell a story, to elicit that human connection, to make data student-centered, to translate what some of these numbers mean into the students that we're talking about, bringing it back to the students. Because when you read statistics on a page, it doesn't translate the same to everybody. But when you start putting a name and a face and the experience to what these numbers show, that's where it elicits that emotion to change if change is needed, or to highlight the strengths of our students, or to highlight their achievements and how much better we're doing. It's just taking the data and taking those numbers and doing a good job, or doing a better job on what story does it tell? What does it mean? What are we doing right? What can we improve on? What can we highlight more? So trying to make data come alive.
That's amazing. I just have the feeling of how lucky the students in Coronado Unified are to have you representing them and being that window through the data for them. Okay, so how valuable is it to have student representation in areas of student support and staff for students?
I think it's huge. I think it brings it back to that student-centered piece. You know, we want to make sure that our students have everything that they need to be able to access, you know, and to thrive emotionally, academically, socially. And without that student voice, there's a bunch of, you know, educators looking at numbers, making decisions for them. And so I'm always interested in what our students have to say. I'm always interested in making connections with our students and their families. You know, I'm always interested in, you know, do the numbers that we have support what our students' experiences are, and what do our students have to say about it? You know, they're definitely a stakeholder. When we start looking at involving community members and stakeholders in some of the decisions that we are making as a school district or as educators, you know, they're living it, and it's hard to dismiss, you know, someone's lived experience of, you know, what their thoughts are, or kind of what their ideas are.
Awesome. Yes, indeed. And so as we're going to bring this to a close pretty quick here. And with our last question, I kind of want to pose a vision quest for you. Where do you think we can be in education as we evolve our practice and systems to support students? I mean, with the pandemic and everything that's going on around us, and hybrid and kids coming back to school, where do you think we can go in support of students?
I think it's, I'm going to bring it back to communication and team building. You know, I think everybody just needs to remember the why of what we're doing. I'm going to bring it back to data again. You know, what does the information tell us, and how can we make that student centered, and how can we support each other, and how can we then model that for students? You know, this is everyone's first pandemic. Like, we're all still figuring it out together. You know, we're all in it together, and I think giving one another some grace for what we're doing and how we're doing it. But I'm excited. I'm excited to have our students back. You know, I'm excited to see the things that they're capable of. I'm excited for our educators, and you know, I love helping people. So problem solving and helping people, that's where I thrive, and I'm excited to be able to do that.
Awesome. Megan, your story is amazing. I really appreciate you coming on to Profiles in Power with us. It has been a great time getting to know you even more. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We hope that you guys join us again next time for another session of Profiles in Power. For that, we're signing off. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.